We're proud of all of our Duff commercials, but here's a very special one from 1960.
Well, I would suggest, Mr. Van Oker, that if you knew the president, that was probably just a facetious remark.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
I would like to take this opportunity to express my fondness for Duff beer.
I'd also like to express my fondness for that particular beer.
The man never drank a Duff in his life.
Man, this 555 deal's really popular. Mr. Trump, here you go, 3 medium pizzas, $5 each.
Tell you what, I'll counter that offer with an even better one. Here's the deal. You give me those 3 pizzas, only I'll give you just $5 apiece.
Sure. Okay.
Still got it, Donald. Still got it.
His very own play all by himself.
Oh, it's a hip-hop musical based on the life of former Vice President Walter Mondale.
That sentence sucked.
Yeah, I was reading Mondale's autobiography and I was just like, this is hip-hop.
Oh, fun. Sounds kind of like Hamilton.
It's nothing like Hamilton. They took place in completely different years.
You're gonna trigger your psoriasis memory.
Although it may seem commonplace now, seeing political figures outside of news was once very rare on network television, becoming more and more prevalent as media entered the 21st century. Certain figures have been focused on in prime time before, but I thought we'd take a comprehensive look at politicians and their guest appearances on TV throughout the decades.
Very excited to have you working in the Calvin Klein department, Gabriel. You must know Martha.
Oh, hello. Really look forward to working with you.
Well, here we are. Need anything else?
So very shallow.
Bringing the stars together. That's the magic of Macy's.
Ronald Reagan may have not been the first actor to successfully run for public office, but by the time of his presidency, he was by far the most prolific and most notable. Like many other pre-code actors, Ronald was a critic of television, but also saw his film roles decline post-World War II. So, starting in 1950, he would appear on 7 different TV shows before landing his 3rd most well-known role.
It's where I met Ronald Reagan, who was the spokesperson for General Electric Theater, on the air. And by the time I got there, he had also been made spokesperson for General Electric around the world. Taft Schreiber was his agent in motion pictures, and Reagan's agent, and got him the job as the General Electric Theater spokesperson on the air. But more than that, he felt that Ronald Reagan, he was the person who really saw the potential for a politician in Ronald Reagan. He saw him first as a salesperson to big industry, and the General Electric people thought he was absolutely wonderful, and he was. I mean, he went from sales meeting to sales meeting, and he convinced people that General Electric products were great, and they'd shine all over the world. And that was the way he was. I mean, he was a wonderful personality. I got to know him because I did 3 General Electric theaters. And in the getting to know him, I found a very affable, very with it kind of guy, but whose thoughts were not the deepest of anybody I'd ever met.
On September 26, 1954, he would become the host for the General Electric Theater, a position secured by his SAG influence and close partnership with MCA, the Music Corporation of America. He hosted 236 episodes and guest starred in 35, all airing on the Columbia Broadcasting System. He would appear in 7 more shows before beginning his campaign for governor, the most notable being The Dick Powell Show and Death Valley Days. 38th President Gerald Ford and his wife both had brief stints on the silver screen. During his term as president, First Lady Betty Ford had a cameo on the 17th episode of the 6th season of The Mary Tyler Moore Show. A few years after his presidency, they were both on the 11th episode of the 4th season of Dynasty, with Henry Kissinger also making a cameo.
Mr. Pinciotti wanted me to give you this.
What is it?
It's your question for President Ford.
But I'm working on my question for President Ford.
Right, well, this is the one the committee made up for you.
What has been your favorite parade? This is asinine.
Macy's.
Oh, no contest.
Right.
George Gordon Liddy is a small but curious case when it comes to the intersection of Hollywood and political scandal. After doing 51 months of federal time for his role in the Watergate operation, he published an autobiography titled Will, which NBC made into a TV movie on January 10, 1982, with a budget of $2 million.
Let me ask you a question. G. Gordon Liddy has been on your show many times.
No, he hasn't.
Well, he's been on this network many times.
Okay.
In the Randy Weaver case, after the ATF stormed that facility, right? When he was talking about the ATF, do you know what he said on his radio show? He said, if they break down your doors, don't shoot them here because they're wearing protective gear. Shoot for the head.
Was that before or after Liddy made the gold commercial?
Throughout the 80s and on, Gordon Liddy would appear on several different TV shows, including Airwolf, Miami Vice, The Highwayman, and on 18 Wheels of Justice as Jason Calder, airing on a national network for 41 episodes. His last television appearance was on the last episode of Fear Factor, airing September 12, 2006.
All right, G. Gordon, this is it. Tell me you're going to take it home.
I've been driving for 60 years. Had the FBI high-speed pursuit training.
That was in 50 what?
57.
All right, well, I'm looking forward to watching it. Good luck. Go get dressed and head on out there, sir.
Coming back to the 80s, Nancy Reagan appeared on the second-to-last episode of the 5th season of Different Strokes. Governor Michael Dukakis was on the 15th episode of Season 3 of St. Elsewhere. Cheers would see two politicians walk through its bar. 1983 Speaker of the House Tip O'Neill was on the 18th episode, No Contest, and John Carey was on the 23rd episode of Season 10. Newt Gingrich is one of the most well-known conservative figures of the past 30 years, which makes his career in Hollywood a bit more interesting, to say the least. His first television appearance on the 19th episode of Season 8 of Murphy Brown was heavily criticized for quote-unquote going easy on him. His next television appearance was 7 years later on the 3rd episode of the 2nd season of The Ali G Show, Sacha Baron Cohen's now forgotten HBO satire.
Wagwan, Evertonary. I is here with my main man. His name be Newt Gingrich.
Nearly another 7 years later, Newt Gingrich would appear on the 10th episode of the 5th season of Parks and Rec, aptly titled Two Parties.
Your home title is far more valuable than a credit card, which is why many criminals aren't going after credit cards. They're stealing home titles. Every county clerk knows about this crime.
Bottom line is, yes, it happens, and we can't stop it.
What does this all mean? Are public servants trying to seem more down to earth? Or are they collecting a check? What's the difference between a mere cameo or a minor acting role? Politicians in prime time are far from a new phenomenon, and it is just as likely to continue as long as Americans enjoy television.
I'm here to pick up Amy.
She's still getting ready. Come in. How do you plan on supporting my granddaughter, young man?
I'm only 17, sir.
What can provide her with the brightest future?
A home?
Wrong. Gold.
Gold?
It's never too early or too late to secure your future with gold. Gold is always valuable, liquid, and as smart a buy as you might ever make. Who do you trust, son? Roslyn Capital, that's who. Roslyn Capital does more than just sell gold. They give you expert advice on how to secure your future. So buy your gold where I buy mine. Roslyn Capital. Call them today for your free guide to owning gold.
Ready?
Young man, what's the most important thing to remember?
To secure my future with gold through Roslyn Capital?
No! To make sure Amy's back by 11. Call Roslyn Capital and tell them Gordon Liddy sent you.